Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
What is Path of the Pale Rider anyway? Is it a comic book? No, that's not it. Is it this? What the heck is Path of the Pale Rider, man? There's no way this is right. How about this? I have no idea.
go rob a bank?
Oh, it's this.
The Madness Comic Network and comic-related madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is the week of Thanksgiving, so here we are. Hope everybody is on vacation, hopefully. No, you're still working? Well, that sucks, dude. Well, at least you can turn on this show in the background while you're working on your computer and listen about cool stuff like comic books and nerd stuff, princesses and zombies. And we have some show and tell today. I'm really excited. So, we're going to do a quick unboxing. Got my little knife here. Because, of course, knives, right? You all know who this is, right? If you see this color. Of course you do. It's my friend Carissa. And I got, this turned out so cool. I got an enamel pin this time. An Anubis pin. Dang it. Green screen. So I got the head one. And of course, I chose the scratches. Ta-da! Beautiful cover. So this is number 7. Oh, look what else I got. Oh, so cool. Our crossover art. These are big. Awesome. I look forward to hanging this on my wall. Sarah and Draven versus Jude and Big James. And of course, Anubis under the blood moon. Turned out really nice. Yay. So I got a few of these. Well, I'll be passing out to some Path of the Pale Rider backers. I got a crap ton of stickers. Awesome. And a trading card. Fabulous. Fabulous. I love getting stuff from Carissa Grant. Every time I get a new comic, I pull out the entire collection and I read from the beginning before I get to the new one. So I can remember. There's just so much crazy action. There's so much going on in her story. I always have to make sure I'm in the right place and remember where we were last, right? More show and tell. We got some cool stuff here. So this came yesterday and I've been waiting for these. And for some reason, when I ordered these, the tracking number didn't work. So I had no idea what day they were coming. I just knew they were coming soon. But if you all follow Path of the Pale Rider, you know that we're building a poker deck. So I got the amazing cards. So we unlocked 2 cards last campaign. So we have the 10 of hearts and then we unlocked the Ace of Hearts. So those came yesterday. So I got 2 decks of each one. So we can add on to the King of Hearts, which we unlocked last time. And of course, it's the beautiful art on the back with the Angel Demon, I guess. Death, maybe? I don't know. What do you think? So I was excited about those. These turned out super nice. And of course, I ship these in little card protectors because as we keep going, we're going to build up some more. And then eventually we'll have a box. We'll have an official looking box. And I might have another thing up my sleeve with that. You never know. You know me and sleeves. I got multiple things up my sleeves. Also, the secret reward we've been working on. I got 2 done. Well, at least they're put together, but the Big Jameses, the minis for the secret reward, I have 1 more to print. But they turn out super nice. So my 3D printer does a good job. I make these myself. I'll be painting them probably on a live, but people had an option to get them just gray. So just a base or to have it painted, which is most people are opting for this painted one. So I'll be painting at least 2 out of the 3. I have to check in with the third person to see how they want theirs, but it's cool. Big James, little mini. Yep. So that's where Path is at. Marco is turning in pages. I am on the fence about whether I want to share some art from there or not, because of course, if you haven't if you found us today and I showed you a peek of what we were working on, it would be a spoiler, which sucks. I don't want to spoil things for you, but I still want to. I'm so geeked out about how things are turning out. There's just these little moments that are amazing. Good morning, John. How are you, buddy? With his bear, rock and roll bear. It's just I'll have to show you eventually what it looks like, but until then, I have to decide which page. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk with our guest today. We have a great guest, returning guest. You've all heard of Mr. Tom Hutchinson. He's been around. He does his thing. He's with Big Dog Inc. He has multiple projects that he works on, which is amazing. I'm still in awe of people like Tom who are able to do like multiple stories at the same time, Kickstarter multiple projects at the same time. Not like not current, on Kickstarter at the same time, but like, 1 month they do Princess versus Zombies, and then the next month they do Critter, and the next month there's something else. So there's always this rotating projects, and I have the most respect for people that are able to time manage like that, because I just try to do my one project. I don't know, Tom, do you have like a team of people that you manage to keep everything on track, or like how do you manage to do all of that?
Yeah. I don't sleep.
You don't
can
sleep.
tell.
Yeah,
you can tell. I don't sleep.
I mean, I'm with you, dude. I was like, oh god, I need a shower before I get on this show. Otherwise, I'm gonna look like a hot mess.
Yeah. No, I in the olden days, when I was still married and so on, we had minions helping us do shipping and all that kind of stuff. That feels like a million years ago. So in the olden days, I had a little bit of help, but it's basically just all me now. And so it's sort of a combination of like priorities, like what do I have to do? Because we like I already know what next year is all the way through, like all of our campaigns and everything. So it's like I know I have to. So I know I have to accomplish certain things in certain times, to make those campaigns work. But at the same time, I absolutely sort of let the mind drift from time to time. Like if I'm writing superheroes and I'm just not feeling it, like I'm just not in that mode right now. I'll be like, well, okay, what else am I doing next year? Well, I have Goth Day next year. I have the Shark book I have to do, whatever. So I can let my brain kind of be like, well, today we're going to write a few pages of sharks and kind of break up some of what I need to do. And then as you just do a few pages, if you do a few pages and you do a few pages, you do a few pages, all of a sudden you've got like an issue, written and done. Right. And then all you got to do is go back and kind of, tinker with it and finish it up. So it's priorities blended with, just sort of free range creativity to just be like, okay, where's the chicken? What road is the chicken crossing today? And it's right.
I was going to say, is it priorities or is it triage?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
What needs to be fixed next?
That's a perfect analogy. Yes.
That's kind of how I feel like I go through my day. I'm like, okay, what needs to be done today because it's due this week or next week.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
That's how it goes. For everybody that's watching that maybe isn't familiar with you, why don't you tell kind of who you are, what you're about, Big Dog Inc., all of that.
So founded Big Dog Inc. 13 years ago. Well, we founded it 14 years ago, but we assume our 13 years of publishing because we that's when I feel like we really started. I mean, anyone can say I'm a company, but until you've done something, I don't know that you're really a company. So for me, we published 13 years ago. That was where we truly started. And we started with a book called Penny for Your Soul, which has been a huge success for us. Followed that up with a polar opposite book called Critter. And then we were off to the races: Legend of Oz, The Wicked West, Ursa Minor, Scheherazade, Antoinette, Lights, Camera, Jungle, Kaiju Epic, Joan of Arc, Goth Day, Princesses versus Zombies, on and on and on and on. It just kind of feels like there was a period of time where every year we existed, we had a new book of some sort. Even if it was just like a spin-off book from something, there was like a new book. So that's just the sort of the free range creativity, right? It's like, well, what do I, I don't know. Like, I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so I don't know how it took me like 8 years to do a kaiju book, but it took me that long to get there. But we finally did that. We have a Gladiator book that's coming out soon. So
cool.
It's just sort of, since I'm the one that's doing the writing, it's literally just sort of like, what do I feel like doing at the time, within the understanding that, next year we have this lineup of, we're going to focus on Critter next year, for example. And then as we go into 2025, that'll be our 15-year anniversary. So we're going to be bringing back Penny for Your Soul pretty heavily. The Shark book will release in 2025, whatever other sort of celebratory things we want to do for then, so on and so on.
Do you commonly do, when you write, how, like, I don't know if it's Marvel or Disney, their method where they have their flagship story, let's say Mandalorian. And then they introduce these side characters in the main story, and then they get their own spinoff. Do you ever introduce characters in your like main story and then be like, oh, and by the way, we have a spinoff coming for X-Men?
Sure. Yeah, we've done it a few times. The first time, was it the first time? Yeah, probably I don't know, maybe about the same time. So first 1 and 1A, basically Critter has a superhero team, a teenage superhero team with a reality TV show that follows them around called The In Crowd. And so they got a spinoff miniseries that was done by CB Zane. And then Joan of Arc was introduced in Penny for Your Soul, and she got a spinoff miniseries. And spoiler alert, the Critterverse is about to go batshit in the next coming years. And that's going to be super exciting. I've already talked to a bunch of people about this plan. They are on board.
About it last time.
Yeah, they are very on board.
Go ahead.
I just have to create the timeline. This will be 2026. So again, we're 3 years down the line here. But sometimes for some of these things, you have to really plan ahead, particularly when you're using other people. If they got to put it in their schedule to be like, okay, Tom needs me in 2026 for whatever it is. I got to put that on my schedule. So that's what we're kind of working on right now. As I'm working on all the things that I have to do, I'm still looking at 26 and saying, okay, now we have to do this too. So I'm super excited about that. Because it was something that it never occurred to me to do, really, like, seriously. And then I was watching a documentary thing on Chris Claremont. It's on Amazon if you want to find it. And as I was watching him talk about his time with the X-Men and all of his editors and stuff, and how the X-Men sort of came about for him and how it expanded while he was there, I was like, damn. I think I just got the roadmap put right in front of me on how to do what I've been trying to do, but I can't do it because I'm just over here by myself. So 2026 should be really, really interesting and really, really fun.
I'm looking forward to it. And I think, like I said, I think last time you were on the show, we had kind of touched briefly about Critterverse and how things are going to progress. And to me, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was we talked about that.
Yeah. Well, that was about the time where I saw this documentary. And so it was all percolating in my head earlier in the spring. It was all percolating in my head. And I had just talked, like I said, I had talked to a couple of people that I knew that I'd worked with before. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Does this make sense? And they were like, yeah.
Yes.
So I think we got something. I think it could be interesting. And like I said, Chris Claremont is like my guy. So like when people ask like who's like your influencers or whatever, like it's Chris Claremont. Like it's not even close. Like I couldn't even tell you anyone else that had any sort of like real heavy influence from a writing sense in my time in comics, collecting and then doing my own stuff. I feel like there's a lot of Chris in what I do. And so when I saw this interview with him and he was talking about how the X-Men sort of blew up, in like the 80s and 90s, I was like, oh my God, that's and what was funny is, I don't want to spoil it because I want people. Well, number one, I don't want people to know what the hell we're doing right now, because anything could any piece of the Tetris tower could topple it, right? But
right.
It was just interesting how he was a lot like me. He, at the time when he was doing X-Men, they were like, well, we want to do like spin-offs and stuff like New Mutants, whenever, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll write that. And they were like, you want to write like multiple things? And he's like, yeah, I'll just write it all. Forget it. I'll just write it all. And then he reached a point where he was like, I can't write it all. And so
I think we all aspire to do that. We're like, yes, I'll take on all these things. And then you're like,
right.
Oh shit, I have too much stuff to do.
That's it. And then, and so part of the interview, he was like, I got to find people that understand me, understand what I'm doing, that I've worked with, that I feel can carry the torch, while we all kind of work together on this thing. And I was like, yeah, man, it was just like somebody just tore the blinds open and the sun just beamed in on me. I was like, yep.
I think we talked about that too. At some point you have to delegate because you're so busy.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, really, if you want to expand what you're doing, it does require some aspect of a team. Even if all my team would be is like, okay, you do all the social media and you do all the shipping so that I can just write that. Even that would free up more writing time for me. Right. So, and that's where some of these guys like Brian Polito and Dan Mendoza and whatever, these guys have teams of people that do things so that the creative people can do the creative things. And so that's partially kind of also where I'm at, where it's like, I gotta just free up my time to create. Cause if I'm sitting here shipping out 300 packages of critter toys, I can't create. I'm just my time is not being put where it could really be the best time that could be spent. So in the next couple of years, that's where we're going.
Because I got like so far into the second arc. I mean, I'm really far ahead in my story, but where I'm at, I kind of put it down and I haven't picked it up since. And it's probably been a year since I wrote Path. So, but I've been writing other things. Like I've been writing Psycho Sal, I've been writing Incantessi, but haven't written Path. And it's still on my mind. Every now and again, I just need to sit down and just reread my script so I can get back into that world and then take a stab at it. But I'm too busy shipping things. I'm like you can see, like too busy getting poker cards and designing, minis and painting things and making hats. And I need a team.
Yeah, it's real. It's a real thing. And I don't have the answer for how to do that necessarily. Because, for me, it's like, if I tell someone to ship and then it gets jacked up, so again, it comes back to that. I just want to do it all because then I know,
so it's right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a thing that I struggle with.
I'm the same way too. Where people are like, can I come help with this thing? I'm like, well, it's kind of technical. I don't know if I'm like, maybe I should just do it myself.
Do you know how to use a tape gun? I don't believe you know how to use a tape gun.
Well, shipping is great, but I mean, like, what if they could send stuff to the wrong people? Sure, they could leave out some of the extras, like the stretch goals. Shit happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, it requires infrastructure. You have to create the infrastructure so that the people know what they're doing, and you can then walk away from them and let them do it. And that takes time and effort and trust in people, and so that's it.
Trust. That's, I think, key. Because who do you trust to, take on your baby? A lot of times I don't even trust variant artists.
I mean, there was a time where I worked at a sports card shop, and I was taking over their God, this was so long ago. Oh my God. This has to be almost 20 years ago now. Jeez Louise.
Wow.
So this was early stages internet stuff. I mean, not 20 years, it was early. I mean, it was early-ish, but they were trying to get themselves onto associated with the sports teams, the NFL, NASCAR, MLB, whatever. So they wanted to sell trading cards on those websites. And so I was taking over that platform, and at the same time managing the store with the owner, and of course, because I want to do it all myself. And finally the guy was like, look, we got to hire somebody for you to work with you. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, I don't believe anyone can do what I'm doing. And he was like, yeah, but like, it's just gonna free you up to do the bigger things. He can do the dumber things. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So the first guy that we ever hired together, he brought this guy in for an interview, and I sat there kind of doing things while he interviewed him. And so I was listening to him, and I was like, okay, he seems relatively competent. And so then Rob turns to me, he goes, you got any questions for him? I was like, can you count to 10? And they looked at me like I was an idiot. But I was like, no, this matters, my friend, because trading cards all have numbers on the back of them. You have to understand 1 through 10, 11 through 20. You have to understand all that. You have to know, like, we sell like 25, Wayne Gretzky cards or whatever. You got to be able to count to 25. I need 25 in this pack, not 22, not 26. I need 25. Like, can you do that? And I literally made him count to 10, like right in front of me. I wanted him to feel really stupid if he couldn't do it. And so he did it. Over time he was a mediocre employee, but not because like he couldn't count to 10 or whatever. Like, he just, again, it was one of those things where there are people that you'll hire that don't have your best interest at heart. Like, they're there for the job. That's fine. They're going to do the job, but they're not necessarily going to do the job to any sort of extraneous ability of like, hey, Tom, I thought about this. Like, what if we, blah, 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 or whatever. And I always told the people that work with me, like, if you see something that I'm not seeing, tell me. And maybe we can fix whatever it is that we're talking about. Or
do something more streamlined, better, more efficient, something.
Right. Yes,
because people will see the loopholes. They'll see, things that maybe you don't because you put it in place.
That's right.
It might be a better way of doing things.
Yeah, if they're doing the job, they might see a better way to do it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, this guy he was just there for
the paycheck.
There for the paycheck, yeah.
And see, that's the hard part for me too. I've, been in the workforce. Good morning, and I have trained people. You know what it is, where you hire someone, you have hopes for them, and then you put them in the position and they just can't grasp it.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's just somehow it's like the way that your brain works versus their brain works. It's not the same. So it's like you spend more time trying to fix either mistakes or coaching. And it's just like, I'll just do it myself.
Well, the thing is, you have to, and this was my boss at the time. He told me a lot of time, he said, like, I let you do what you want to do because you treat this job like this business is yours, right? I didn't own this place. I was just kind of managing the place, but he was like, you treat it like it's yours. You treat it like, if it doesn't get done, it's not going to get done and it's going to be a problem. And so you get it done. And I've had that with other jobs too. When I was working with Jesse James out at his place in Arizona, he liked to kind of change the placement of things on the floor. And I would watch the other guys come up and ask him what to do. They'd be like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, do you want me to move this over here and this over here? Like, what do you want me to do? And I would see his response. He would be like, I don't care. Just do it.
It doesn't
like,
matter.
Do what you want to do. Yeah. He's literally just like, do what you want to do. And so I took that and I ran with it. I was just like, okay, I get it. I know what's going on. Blow this place up and make it cool. And so Jesse eventually was like, at a point, he was like, yeah, man, I don't care what you do. You are doing it right. You know what you're doing. It's making sense. He'll give me suggestions from time to time. Hey, why don't we make a thing over here? Okay, cool. Let's make a thing. But he even let me, there was one time I did the polar opposite of what everyone in America does in comic book stores. So he has this big store, and there were these little side rooms that were used for just extraneous stuff. But Jesse was always big into the independent, supporting independent books. And so I told Jesse one time, I was like, look, what if we took everything Marvel and DC off the floor? I don't want anything Marvel or DC on the main floor, except for new issues. We'll do new issues, obviously trade paperbacks or where they are. But as far as just like all of the back issue stuff and everything that's everywhere, I don't want Marvel or DC on the floor. I want to put them in those back rooms. And that would give the front area every space to be seen by people that walk in. Even if they're going to the Marvel room, they got to walk past all the Dark Horse, the Image, the Vault, the Valiant. They got to walk past all of it to get to wherever they're going to go. And he thought about it for a minute, and he was like, "Yeah, do it." And so we stripped the entire store and put them in these back rooms, like almost hidden. And what was really interesting was two things happened. The first was that the Marvel and DC people thought that was the greatest thing they'd ever seen because they got their own room, right? Like, oh, I'm going in the DC room. Yeah, this is where I belong, right? And so they were like super excited. Everything that they wanted was right there, and they could just go from the X-Men to the Avengers and whatever they wanted. That was great. And then the other thing is because they had to just wander around, the front to get to anywhere else, to get to the new issues or whatever, they were seeing stuff that they'd never seen before. Right. And so they were like, "Oh, what is this thing from, I don't know, no one told me this thing from Image was out. Like, what is this?" or whatever. And so we started to sell more things that they didn't know existed.
That's amazing.
And so it's just that you got to get sometimes outside the box that you understand. There are way more boxes to exist in, from a creative sense, from a sales sense, from everything. But we all get so stuck in these tiny boxes where it's like, well, this is working. Let's just keep making it work. And like, let's not try and see what happens if the box next to us has any other ideas. We're just in this box. Yeah. And so moral of the story is, obviously go with what's working, of course, but don't be afraid to step a foot into another box and just kind of see what might be there for you.
I think that's valid. I think a lot of times, people get stuck in what worked, but not what's currently working.
That's the entire comic book industry, my friend.
Exactly.
That's
right.
We're still existing in what this was 40 years ago. And the system really hasn't changed. The distribution method hasn't changed. The marketing hasn't changed. I mean, nothing has changed. And now the retail market and the distribution markets and all of that are paying the price because they never did anything to continue to expand the awareness of the product and to get new generations to keep coming in. And now we have this problem where the new generations are exposed to comic book characters, all the movies and stuff that are out there, but freaking Marvel run an ad for comic book stores at the beginning of your movies. Like, what are we doing? It would
make sense, right?
Yeah. What are we doing? But Marvel and DC historically have been like, well, we're not advertising. You should be advertising. The store should be advertising. They should be advertising their store and in such advertising us versus Marvel going, Pepsi kind of tells everyone that they exist every Super Bowl. Maybe we should like spend $1 million of our tens of billions that we make off of our movies and have a Super Bowl ad that says, comic books are kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
Like this is the frustration that this industry exists in right now, unfortunately.
100%. I definitely agree. It's like, how do you get more people in? Even cigarettes new, you got to go after the youth.
Right.
Like, what do they not understand?
Our product kills people, so we should probably get more people to replace the people that kills
our regular crowd's gonna die, so we gotta get them. Hook them when they're young. Make candy cigarettes. There we go.
That's right.
It's like, where's our candy cigarettes, Marvel?
Yeah, man.
As I wear an Avenger shirt. I mean, come on.
Shilling for the man. You're shilling for the man.
I guess. I was like, I should have just worn one of my own shirts, but hey.
You got Pale Rider merch?
I have t-shirts.
Oh, see, there you go. See, look right there. Dun dun dun.
Nice. In fact, my t-shirt lady's working on our new shirts, and I have her making me a sweatshirt, a hoodie, a bright yellow hoodie with freaking Big James plastered on it with red splash blood in the background. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm kind of excited for that. And if
You're just
people
gonna
like
wander
it,
through the conventions glowing yellow.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like gonna become a billboard for sure.
That's right. It's good.
Because on my t-shirts, it's like I usually have some art, and then on the back it'll say Path of the Pale Rider. But she's like, "How big do you want the letters?" And I was like, "How big can you make them?" And she was like, "I can make them pretty big." And I was like, "Do that." And my husband's like, "Their letters are really big." And I was like, "But do you see them?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss." I'm like, "Point. See, do you see where I'm going here?" I'm like, everybody sees what it is.
That's it. That's it.
So we'll see how those turn out. I think those are in the works right now. I love merch, but that's another question. I know that you just did some great merchandise. You got Critter action figures, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Were they articulated too? Do you have one they show off?
Are they articulated?
Yeah.
Holy crap, are they articulated?
All right, show them off.
Like 30 points of articulation.
Shut up.
Like ankles, knees, hips, hands, elbows, everything.
Wow.
It's articulated. So it's yeah. These just came in about a month ago. All of it's out the door now.
Yeah.
So everybody has their stuff or will have it soon. And that's it's mind-blowing that this is something that exists now.
Yes.
Because I had this done about 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
And this was a custom that was done off of an old McFarlane toy.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was like, I'm never going to have Critter toys. So
Right.
these guys did custom. So I'm like, I'm at least going to have one Critter toy. For me, there's going to be one. And now we have an actual legitimate, and it comes like, I don't have one here, but I mean, it comes in like a real box and it's the whole thing. It's the guys that do the toys for Coffin Comics and Dynamite Comics. It's called Loose Collector / Executive Replicas. Those are the guys that did the custom. And that's where this whole thing came from, because they did the custom so long ago. And then, about 2 years ago ish, they were like, so do you want to do toys? I'm like, yeah. How do we do this?
Yeah.
And so we went through the process, and it took a long time, man. I'm really happy that everybody had patience with this, because it was completely out of our hands, the production of this thing. And when, we were doing this while COVID was going on, and it was a mess. So, but the fact that they're here, they're badass. Everybody that's got them is like, yo, this is great. What's the next toy? I'm like, oh my God, I'm not, I'm
going to have gray hair. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not really prepared for this again yet. But yeah, even the toy company, they were like, yeah, so we shipped them to you. What do we do now?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
I know I've been, every now and again I get that too, where they're like, hey, this is really cool. What's next? And I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah. We just did this.
Give me a minute.
Just happened.
I have to go get my hair colored because I have gray hair from this process.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's awesome. Yeah. Was there a minimum that you had to order?
Well, we had a minimum that we had to order to meet a price point that would make it rational to do. Because those toys, I mean, in reality, because that was the thing. I was like, look, these toys, when you go to cons, they're usually about like $70 or something.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be more than that. So I was like, how many do we have to make so that our wholesale can match that retail?
Yes.
And so they were like, yeah, we did like 1,000 units, and then it would be able to keep it to that sort of a price point. And I was like, holy fuck.
Look at all those.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. This is going to take me a long time to sell 1,000 freaking Critter toys. But then one of the advantages was, I was like, well, look, with Critter, she's got like these different outfits that it's not really, there's no mold difference. It's just a paint change. So could we do a different paint app and have 2 figures, 500 of each, basically? And then, would that cost? He was like, no, it's not going to cost really anything to just do a new paint app. And so we separated the 1,000 units into 500, what we call the classic blue, which is the original lighter blue version, and then the modern blue. And they were like, yeah, perfect, beautiful. I was like, okay, I feel like if we have 2 versions 500 of each. That's better than one version of 1,000. So
yes.
Yeah. So that worked out really well, and the both versions came out great. It was interesting to see how people ordered them, because you could buy both of them, and if you bought both of them, you got like a special comic as well.
Cool.
Keith Garvey variant cover with it. But then you could just buy whichever one you wanted too. So, but it ended up being pretty much almost 50-50 between the two versions, which was kind of interesting. I didn't really know what to expect, but you know, the modern blue has enough differences that I think it's a little more, it just has a little more different, like it's got, like she's got her fingers are white on the regular one. It's just all blue. So I think the original one is very simple. And then when we kind of, in the comic book story, as we, you know, evolved her, we kind of brought it a little more 90s-ish. Like she was very 70s and 80s. And then we kind of brought her a little bit 90s. And then she's getting another modification, spoiler alert, later on. That'll kind of bring it a little more modern again. So yeah, so it was really, really super fun.
That's awesome. And that's always interesting to me too, when you put up like, for example, when I put up like variant covers, and I'm always like, I don't know, I love them all, but I want to know what the people like. So it's interesting to see how they all come in, like what people are interested in. So it's like if you have two different versions of Critter, you know, but it's 50-50, that, you know, then it's just like, ooh, I like this one too. I don't know, you know, like
yeah. Well, and we had people buy one during the campaign. And then during like the backer kit phase, when they can add stuff on, they were just like, yeah, just give me the other one too. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then we had a handful of people that were buying multiples. So clearly they are the open a set and keep a set closed people. You know, we had that going on. So it was fun to see, you know, kind of what people were in, kind of imagine what's in their brain. Like, you know, I'm buying these toys. What am I doing with them? And so, yeah, it's been fun.
And how rewarding, you know what I mean? Something that's like years of work, you know, and to see it come to fruition and to have people be excited and purchase, I think is like the biggest reward.
Well,
I love seeing new stuff of mine and people are like, I want that. I need that. When's the next one coming?
Well, the crazy part about this, and this is what I told the guys, they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, in my brain initially, I was like, well, if we went with a simple character, the molding would be less because there's less to, you know, create and so on. So that's why we went with Critter. But then I also, in my brain, I was like, yeah, but you know what? There's like people that collect Catgirl stuff just in general, like manga people, anime people, just people in general. They list like the Catgirl is like a thing. And so I felt like we had Big Dog Ink fans covered, we had Catgirl people covered, and we had just general toy collectors people covered if we did this. And so as we did the campaign, it was sort of as expected. And then, you know, we kept having to wait for the production to be happening. And I started to find people talking about this on threads online. Like there were literally threads about like, I don't even know what this is. And I bought this Critter toy.
You're like, look how cool it is. What is it?
Totally. That's what was happening.
Awesome.
It was crazy. And then as we got to the point, once I started to post to the campaign, like, oh, the toys are here, guys. I'm going to start shipping these things out to you. I saw another surge of people talking about it. They were like, oh, this Critter thing is coming. I don't know what it is. And then there were other people that were like fans of ours. They're like, oh, it's a comic book.
Yeah.
You got to see the comic book. So I started to get people marketing for me to the crowd that doesn't know what it is. And then all of a sudden on the web store, it was like, I'm selling a shitload of Critter comic books. Like, what is going on here? And then I'm getting in the notes. It was like, I bought your toy and I don't know what it is, so I want the comics, or you know, just stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? So it was
like He-Man when they were like, here's our toys. Oh, there's a story too. You know what I mean? So they did it opposite, but for you, it's just like organically finding the story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I hope to have something like that someday where people are like, this is a really cool product. What is it? Oh, there's a comic. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was nuts.
Great
it was
marketing.
nuts. It was nuts. So, and now Critter comes back. It's all like this weird synergy right now because now Critter. So everybody has their toys for Christmas, right? That's awesome. So in January we launch Critter again. Critter comes back in January with the we're going to finish up volume 6 for the book, and then at the same time, Antarctic Press is relaunching the Critter series to retail stores. So Antarctic Press is going to be, it's just going to be a reprint series. We'll have new covers for it, but Critter hasn't been in stores in 8 years. So this is going to a completely new audience just in the 8-year context.
Oh yeah.
Plus it's going to AP, which is their audience, which surprisingly people already know who Critter is there too. That was another thing that was crazy. When we announced it with AP was started to post it on their Facebook threads and stuff. They're like, oh, we're going to bring Critter to blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden people were like, yo, I bought Critter like when it first came out. And I'm like, who are you people? I don't know who you are. So it's really wild sometimes to actually see evidence of sort of the
journey,
permeation of your brand in places that you would never expect that it's already there. Just because these people are not running to you on social media does not mean they are not finding your book, your toy, whatever, enjoying it just by themselves. Like, hey, I like Critter. This is cool. You know, the internet, I think, doesn't work the way that a lot of us really think that it does. Particularly social media. Like we're on it all the time, but that's because it's our job. Like we have to come do this so that people know what we're doing.
Right.
But you know, the general people go to the comic book store and buy Batman and go home and read it and go on about their day. They don't run out and do reviews. They don't run and find the creator and go, oh my God, I love what you like that. That's the large majority of people. And then there's the hyper fans that get really crazy about what we're talking about. So, you know,
but
it's like
just with social media, like people will consume things, may never push a like button, may never share, but they're still consuming it. I was at a LCS one time and I just happened to be there. We were looking for stuff for the kids. They had Squishables. And he was like, oh, well, you know, not talking to us, just making small talk. And I was like, oh, I write a comic. Of course, I'm going to bring it up in an LCS. He's like, oh, yeah, which one? I was like, Path of the Pale Rider. It's an independent. He's like, oh, yeah, I know that one. Since when? You know what I mean? He's like, oh, no, because you're in Texas and I keep an eye on all the stuff that goes on in our area. Okay. So same thing. You know what I mean? Like people are looking and you don't even realize.
Yeah, people get all down about my post didn't get likes or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but people don't click like anymore. I mean, they don't care about your like. They just like, oh, that's a cool picture. Like, what is Princesses versus Zombies? And you know, if you have a link, maybe they click the link, or maybe they just bounce around, you know, follow the rabbit hole to, you know, wherever it's going to take them. But it's there's only the hyper fan and the troll that really get involved. You are
so right.
Yeah, in the super side of social media. And you know, those people are great. You want to activate those guys. You want them to like your posts and share it, whatever. And trust me when I tell you that all that stuff matters. So if you're listening to this about social media, it matters when you click like. It also matters if you click like versus the heart button, because the heart button is actually a better algorithmic choice to sort of, you know, activate all of that stuff. So if you have 1 second to click like, I would ask you to take 1.5 seconds and click heart. And you know, and do that. And even if you click share, you don't even have to type anything. You know, because like when you click share, you can like type in, oh, I found this thing, whatever. You don't even have to do that. You can just click share and post. And it just activates all of that algorithmic stuff, which is boring to talk about. But you know, it is what it is.
But I mean, we can do a whole nother show about, you know, algorithms and I clicked the wrong one. Algorithms and how to promote and all of that. Because that's there's a science to it.
There is, and I hate it.
And
I think we all hate it, but
of course we do. It's the game we play, you know. And it's just, how many times did we have to learn a new way to beat the algorithm?
Right. Well, and that's where guys, and that's where guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, who I love, Gary V. This guy will tell you things you never even thought you should ask about. But at the same time, he'll also tell you that, yeah, you need to be on like all 5 social platforms. And guess what, guys? Every one of these works differently. And you have to learn how each one of them works to maximize. And I'm just like, Gary, I don't got that kind of lifetime.
Work, man. You know what I found though? I think the videos work to our advantage, because a lot of times you can format one video, and the short form video, kind of like the newest, greatest thing right now. So you can play it on Reels on Facebook, Shorts, on Instagram. You can put it on TikTok, and you can have it on your YouTube. And you can get a crap ton of views with just the one video. So that's what I'm trying to do, is find smart ways to utilize my time, where it's like I don't have to redo every time. Twitter is something else. Let's be honest. Twitter is something else.
Nobody uses Twitter. Nobody uses it.
It's still there, but I just question.
No one cares. No one cares. No one cares. Honestly, if anyone's trying to do social media right now, TikTok is where you need to be. I mean, it is the most open source thing. It is the most algorithmically accurate for what you want to see, right? If you're going to watch a bunch of chicks doing the dances, you're going to keep getting chicks doing the dances. That's fine. But if you start watching all of Laurie's stuff, it's going to understand that you want to watch Laurie. It's going to understand that you want to watch stuff like Laurie, and it's going to start showing you things like Laurie. And that's just the way TikTok works. And it works really well, but it is video form. So you have to be prepared to do videos, or like you just said, we could take this entire show and cut it into 1 minute clips for the pertinent information, and just stick it on TikTok. And that's what people do a lot.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, that's pretty common on TikTok, is to take something that was long form and then split it up into 4 and 5 videos, because they get more videos up. And the thing is if you're interested in doing social media, especially places like TikTok, you have to understand your audience. Look at they'll give you analytics to tell you when you're getting your most views. I get excited about things, and I'll create a really kick-ass video like me smashing pumpkins in a Pikachu suit. And I want to post it right away. But the best time for me to post it is between 7 and 9 o'clock. Because that's when my people are on.
That's when your people are around. Yeah, that's right.
That's when my people are on. Right. So that's when I need to post it. So a lot of times I'm saving things in drafts, and then I have to go back in the evening and post them, because that's the way that you get more views. And then just being consistent, consistently, posting videos, because if you post one now and then one 6 months later, all those people have forgotten about you, dude.
That's right. That's true.
So, but let's talk about princesses versus zombies. Now, for people that don't know, Tom and I don't generally share an audience. Path of the Pale Rider and like Critterverse and most of his titles, we don't usually share an audience. However, the one thing we do share in this sense is our love for zombies. And you can tell in this work. And I think a lot of it is like, it's fun, it's satirical at times, it pokes the bear. Because I don't know how many times you poked fun at Robert Kirkman and Walking Dead. It was great. Because it's like, we hate Walking Dead. We really do. As a horror fan, as a zombie fan, we love from the beginning what he did, and kind of like this attention to detail, and like he brought in a new audience, but now it's like, it's jumped the shark and we're ready for something else. Right. So I love your tongue-in-cheek humor in this about kind of Walking Dead, and how Hollywood views a lot of like zombie and horror, and like that made me laugh. But again, there's still that horror element to it, like the zombies on fire, and like the detail to the gore. And I was like, see, I can tell you appreciate the zombie genre because the detail you put into the actual zombies that are there.
Now I'm gonna blow your mind. Okay,
what?
Are you ready?
Yes.
I hate the zombie genre. or
your art likes it.
yeah, for sure. There are some zombie movies that I really like. but that's literally where this came from, is my dislike of the zombie genre. Okay. Because I would, invariably at cons, somehow it would come up as maybe somebody asked, like, do you have a zombie book or something? I'm like, no, I don't have a zombie book. And we talk about it. It's like, I don't really like the zombie genre. It doesn't do anything for me. And so years and years, people be like, well, okay, so if you did a zombie book, how would you do it so that you would like it? And I started to think about it, and I was like, I don't know the answer to that. And so one year at Baltimore Comic-Con, I was there with some fans, and I was there with Jesse Wichman, and we were talking. We were at Hooters. See how it all works together.
See, now it makes sense.
Yeah, and we started talking about it, and I was like, it would have to be something that's just so outside the box, like princesses versus zombies. Like, that's literally where it came from. And so after that that little weekend, I don't know, a couple of months later, I messaged Jesse, and I was like, Jesse, do you remember that dumb thing that I said at Hooters? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so would you be up for like designing princesses for this thing, and we can see, sort of people like it? And he was like, yeah, I'm all about it. So I didn't even know what it was yet. I had no story. I had nothing. I just had I knew we wanted Cinderella and Snow White and I don't even remember Bella Rose
from Beauty and the
Belle.
Beast.
So I was like, okay, well, let's just start with Cinderella. And he was like, okay, cool. So we started going through things, and he created this image of this, what is referred to in the book as the Hot Topic Barbie version of Cinderella. And I was like, okay, we got it. So what we did was, again, there's no book, there's no story, there's nothing. We made art prints. We made big art prints for the following year at C2E2, and we debuted Cindy at C2E2. Here she is. Oh, and people would come up and be like,
nuts.
Yeah. And people would be like, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's a new thing we're trying out. This is Cindy from something we're calling Princesses versus Zombies. And they're like, where's the book?
Right.
I'm like, there's no book. It's just, that's it. There's that. And they're like, well, when's the book coming? I don't know, man. This is just the picture.
You're like, damn it, now I have to write a zombie book. Man.
And so after that, Jesse was at the show. So he saw the responses too. And he was like, yo. And I'm like, I know. It's real, isn't it? He's like, yeah. So next,
we're out there, and there's a ton of zombie fans. And if people enjoy your work, but they also enjoy zombies, of course they're going to ask for that. Yeah. And when you tease them with a Cindy, Jesus, a 19-year-old Cindy, decked out in full costume with, weapons and surrounded by zombies, now you've just done yourself in.
It worked. Yeah, it worked. And the other part was the car, right? People were all about the cars. Yes. And so then the next one, I was like, so let's do
wagon?
Yeah. Well, that was the next one was I was like, Mrs. White, like, what car is she going to drive? I'm like, she's got to have a wagon, dude, because she's got to have all the munchkins, or not the munchkins, but the dwarves, right? And so he was like, I got you. Yeah. So we did Mrs. White. That was for Pennsylvania con somewhere. And again, same thing. People were like, yo, where is the book? I was like, fuck. All right, well, I have to do this book now. And so I was like, all right, we got to finish up these designs. I have to make the book. And so literally in about 6 months from the debut of the print to 2020, I don't know when we did it, September or something. So it was like about 6 months. We went from an art print to a book, the 0 issue, in like 6 months, and we put that 0 issue out. And we did a dumb little 69-hour campaign for this 8-page issue to like, are you guys serious? Like, do you really want this book? And it did really, really well. And I was like, son of a bitch, I'm writing a zombie book. And so, off we were to the races. And then of course I had to fill it up with all of the stuff like you just talked about, all the little knocks at The Walking Dead. There's still one thing that people haven't caught yet, and that was actually put in there. People, when someone does catch it, they're going to tell me, oh, you did this wrong, and I'm going to tell them why it's there, because there's a reason that it's there. But there's actually something that is spelled wrong in the story on purpose.
Oh.
But no one's caught it yet, which is interesting. No one's caught it yet.
I love the little homage right here. Look, there's little Critter.
Critter and Dorothy and and Naomi and Jack Pumpkinhead. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I was cracking up and I got to see some of the later issues, and just like at the party, all the costumes that you chose for the people at the party, I was just cracking up. I was like, Ghostbusters. And I think that one guy was a fly swatter.
He was a fly swatter. Yep.
I was laughing. I was like, why? And she's dressed up from like Something's Killing the Children. Yes.
No, that's Jack Pumpkinhead.
Oh, that's Jack Pumpkinhead.
That's Jack Pumpkinhead. Yeah, we
That's
did
right.
that mask way before
Something
those
Killing the
guys did.
Children.
So copyright infringement. I think.
Ha ha! Go get him, Tom. I was just laughing about this wagon. I was like, how do you make a station wagon look cool? Oh, like this.
with
George
blur
Romero
effects
High
and stuff.
School. Nice touch. See, I was like, somebody likes zombie genre because there's so many different homages.
Well, I'm a horror fan, right?
Okay.
And so because of that, the zombie stuff leaks in,
Okay.
and I'm well aware of it. Like I've seen, Night of the Living. I've seen all that stuff,
Yeah.
So I can't say I don't like it if I haven't seen it. So I've seen a lot of zombie stuff. It's just very, very little of it really connects with me. So, this stuff.
Why is that? What is it about the zombie genre that?
Because zombies, generally speaking, and I actually had this discussion with another creator too. He was the same thing as me. He was like, yeah, zombies, man, they're not that interesting. Like you could actually replace the zombies with anything and you get the same story, essentially. Replace them with tigers and lions, replace them with velociraptors, replace them with elephants, you get essentially the same story where it's the people running away from the problem. Now, the zombies, of course, have that little added, if I bite you, you turn into me type of thing, versus if a tiger bites you, you just die. So you have that little visceral, emotional thing where, oh my God, my daughter got bit by the zombie and now she's a zombie and now I have to shoot her in the head. But again, that just becomes a trope over time. It's like, somebody's kid or parent is going to get bit by the zombie, and that the kid or parent is going to have to put them down. So it just became this trope filled thing where every time you see it, it's just going to be the same thing. So it just kind of wore down on me. But like I said, there's a few things that I liked. Like I like Zombieland a lot because Zombieland was very, very smart in how they dealt with zombies. And the entire world building of it was fantastic. So Zombieland is great. Also Emma Stone. Yes, Emma Stone. And then I know a lot of people don't like it, and I don't know if it's because they read the book or whatever, but
don't you dare say it.
I like World War Z.
No.
Yeah. World War Z is
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. World War Z is what I call a just go movie, right? Where it has just enough character stuff so that you understand who these people are, what they're doing, and why they're doing it. But the rest of the movie is just go, man. Like everything is just go. Like we're into the next scene, we're into the next place. And literally the zombies are just go in that movie. Like they are just bolting. And you don't really see that in zombie movies very often. I love the swarm up the wall in Israel where they're going over the wall. Like there's visuals and concepts to their zombies that I don't see in other places. And I was like, there's something here. I'm not saying it's like a great movie. Like I'm not putting it on any sort of pedestal, but it's absolutely watchable. And it's very, like I said, it's a just go movie. It just keeps fucking going. And now we're cutting people's hands off. And now we're, there's things that I don't like.
We crashed the airplane.
Yeah. You crashed the airplane and stuff. There's things that I don't like. There's things that I'm like, I don't know about that. But I mean, that's every movie, but
yeah.
But I like Zombieland or World War Z, and I wanted a second one to kind of expand on what they were doing. I love the idea that the zombies would be like, no thanks, dude. you got liver cancer. I'm not interested. Like those are just interesting variations on the trying to eat your brains, kinds of things. And so I think so it's always with zombie films, it has to be character driven, right? So if you don't like the characters, you're not going to give a damn if they live or die.
Resident Evil.
So yeah, so like I like the is it Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead, where they're
Zack
in the
Snyder
mall?
one, the remake,
so
is amazing.
There's crazy characters in there, right?
Amazing
So
story.
yeah.
Movie.
So that's what I'm saying. Like Boy Scouts Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse is a funny movie. It's not great, but you have characters there that you're like, okay, I can watch these characters do things. But like with The Walking Dead, man, those characters, I don't care. Kill them all and end the show, please. None of these people are attractive to me. So that's where you get a lot of the, Walking Dead sucks and stuff.
That makes me laugh in there. Because like I said, when it first started out, it was like, oh, this is new. This is different. And my take on the zombie genre is a little different than yours. I agree that a lot of it can get stagnant. That a lot of times they were, they're trying to one up and do something different. And that's kind of what I was striving for as well when I changed ultimately how my zombies work from all of that.
Yeah.
But I think zombies are attractive to people because it breaks that taboo about hurting people, which is weird. So it's like now they have permission to go shoot humans in the head.
Oh, that's 100% our society right now. And that's the one, that's Dawn of the Dead, where they're on top of the mall and the dude's like, shoot Elvis. And he's like, and he's like popping Elvis in the head. Like that's totally our society right now. Completely. Like, give me a reason, man.
Give me a reason. But it's like, of course, you can't fantasize about murdering people. That's not okay. But now they're undead. So now it's okay. You see what I mean? So it takes away that inhibition. So I think that's what draws a lot of people to the zombie genre. I think a lot of people are drawn that way too because they put themselves in the shoes of the survivor. What could I do to survive, or how far would I go to survive?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There are definitely sort of moral, pitfalls within the zombie genre if it's done right. And like with Dawn of the Dead, that's the first time I've ever seen a zombie baby, man. Like what?
They went there, right?
Yeah, they went there. That's great.
Well, I mean, you always get that. People are like, did you do it? Did you kill a kid? Did you cross the line? And they were like, motherfucker, not only did we cross the line, we made a zombie baby come out of a pregnant lady.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they did it.
Yeah. And if you're gonna do it, man, people are gonna notice.
Yeah.
They're gonna applaud you for it. And that is one of the massive failings of, we're going to go on to a weird tangent here, of the second Alien versus Predator movie, Requiem. Like, it started with a face hugger taking out a kid, whap, and it just took a kid out, and you're like, yo, what is happening? Like, we're going to do this kind of movie? And then the rest of the movie is trash. But,
good.
It's no good.
That one.
No, don't even bother. I mean, watch the first 10 minutes and watch the kid get taken out, but the rest of the movie is awful. But yeah, if you can do things that people haven't seen before in a genre, congratulations, because there's so much content that it's really hard to figure out a way to do something. Like with me, our Bella Rose, right? She's wearing like the glasses. She's like the glam Belle, but the glasses are also there because she's blind.
She's blind.
And Beast is her guide dog, right? So to me,
you gotta make her grab people's tits to figure out who they are.
Yes,
well, that made me laugh. I was like, okay, here she goes again.
I took the whole thing of like, hey, can I touch your face so I can see what you look like? Like that happens all the time. But our Belle is like, oh yeah, your face, but let me see what else you got going on.
I was like, oh Lord.
Yeah. So, but like, I've never seen a blind person in a zombie movie. I'm sure it's probably happened because there's so much zombie movie stuff. But it's something that to me was like, I think that's kind of unique and something that I can play with. And then that allows me to use the dog in a lot of ways too. So, So our Bella Rose is blind, and on and on and on and on.
Yes. So wait, before we go any further.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this back up. Let's watch the video. I love the music on this, by the way. Who did the music?
So this video is the example of how someone who doesn't know how to do anything needs to create a video out of thin air.
Shut up.
And
who did this? You did the video?
I did this. Yeah.
Come on.
I did.
I don't believe you.
It's okay. Not that.
That was a pretty good Kickstarter video, considering you had to have done one before.
I've done videos, but I've used templates, right, where I just drop images and change the words and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just kept running out of templates. I'm like, well, I don't have a template that would even work for this. So I was like, literally, I haven't put out video in our campaigns in years.
Really?
And so this time I was like, okay, let me see what I might be able to do with no talent and no understanding of technology.
No talent, give me a break.
And so, I did this thing, and it's only 39 seconds long, which is great for me which is
perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I make videos and they're too long. Because I try to cram too much information in there, and I always try to do some kind of silly antics, but it's like, sometimes the shorter the better. People watch the entire thing when it's 39 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully anyway. Yeah. But
if they got less of an attention span than 39 seconds, God help us.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, and it is what it is. We did something new, right? Something new every time. Yeah. So now that I dipped my toe in the water, maybe we'll continue to do dumb things like that some more.
So where did you get the music from is what I wanted to know.
That's all part of it was all on the site that lets you make these things.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like TikTok, where you can like pick, songs or whatever that you want to attach to your video. It has a selection of just whatever is there.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, yeah, all right, that's fine. And what was funny is I don't even know where this came from. Like, I was typing into the music selection. I was typing in things like scary music, Halloween music, like I don't know, and I wasn't getting anything. I kept getting like this weird, like literally like spooky, like Ed Wood music. I'm like, this isn't what I want. And then somehow this came up under what I was searching for, and I'm like, I don't know how that is spooky or scary, but I'm using it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You're like, this isn't even, but it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And it's 39 seconds long, right? So if my video had been like 49 seconds long, like the music clip, it would have gone into another segment of the boom, boom. Like, it would have changed out of that into a completely different thing. Like there's literally singing that starts happening right at that 39 seconds. So it actually cuts perfectly.
Perfect.
And, we get rid of the extraneous. I don't even know who that song is.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't recognize that one. That's why I was like, you had to have found this on some kind of like royalty free, or
I made the music myself. I just did it.
You're like, I'm a composer as
well. I got out the keyboard and I just did it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Found someone to do the vocals. Cracks me up. All right, so I kind of peeked already, but I want to go through the page. You can kind of walk me through. I love how they're not the actual princesses people. It's just a parody. And of course it's Halloween night. So that's the one night where, the girls dress up as the slutty version of whatever it is. Slutty Pikachu, slutty Snow White, slutty Pocahontas. They're all there. Well,
sexy fly swatter, whatever.
Sexy fly swatter. I was like, I don't know. Is that considered sexy? I don't know.
For a dude, it probably is.
Whatever.
Yeah. Take a look at my handle, baby.
I was like, stop. Oh, he gets his though. So yes, Halloween night, Northern Illinois. Monsters roam the streets looking for their next fix, and no street corner is free of their plague. And it cracks me up too, where it was like, is it a virus? Maybe. Is it something? Who knows? Who cares? Because that's how typical zombies, genre is. It's like, oh, there's a virus. Ooh, oogity boogity. All right, now we're into zombies.
Yeah, and then so what part of the narration was because it's coming from this kid who's trick or treating, and she's like, I blame it on fun size candy.
Right. It's like I blame it on the people who are going from smaller and smaller size candy.
That's right.
Also, there's zombies. Here's Cindy.
Yeah, that's our hot topic Barbie.
Why do her garters not match? Oh, she's got a knife in one.
Yeah, one's a garter and then one's like a strap, and then like when you see the whole picture, she's got like shin guards on and stuff. So
yeah,
all of them kind of like get a little bit of gear as they go along, to kind of start doing stuff to the zombies, and they're all sort of in various levels of geared up.
Fun.
But yeah, Jesse Witchman did the designs for all of these.
I don't know what I would call that. Definitely not functional. I would never fight anybody in that. I'm just saying.
Well, when you're at the high school Halloween party and that's what you are, and the zombies show up, you don't have a choice. You can't just go change.
Yeah, no. You just gotta use the mop and take them out.
You grab the mop and you go. You put the dog in the purse and you just get going.
I was cracking up too, where one of them was like, "Can you put some clothes on?" She was like, "She's like, nobody wants to see that." Well,
yeah. Well, so we got
right now.
That's Mrs. White. So she's funny because she's clearly not a prude, but then as she's going through. Every time she interacts with Cindy, like she's clearly aware that like she's mom, and she's like, "Come on, sit down." When no one needs to see that,
Right.
But at the same
time,
time,
look at yourself.
Yeah. At the same time, her first appearance is like, "I'm a motherfucking princess,"
Right.
So
I love it. She's like, "Come on, Gary."
Yeah. She's really fun to have sort of the dual, thing going on. Yeah, absolutely.
Why is it always someone named Gary? I have a friend named Gary. I'm sorry, Gary.
Sometimes I don't even know where those names come from. Honestly, like when I wrote the thing, that was literally just what I wrote. It was like, I'm a goddamn princess. And, and then whatever name went there in my brain, that's just what it was. There was no attempt to like, okay, what am I going to name her husband? Like, should it be, but no, it's just whatever popped in.
Whatever pops out.
Yeah.
But Gary's like, I don't know. Gary's a name that people always use for like, the chooch. They're like, all right, Gary, don't spoil things. Like, don't mess it up, Gary. Like, I don't know why. And was there a Gary that messed something up once and all of a sudden it now lives in infamy? Like, how like Karen is a thing now. And it's like Chad is a thing now. But like Gary is also a thing. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, good. So I was on the right wavelength.
Yeah, I guess. I was like, why is it always Gary? Damn it.
God damn it, Gary.
God damn it, Gary. I love this too. Oh, you're gonna have more stretch goals ready for us because these are all gone.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to post it. There is a second little thing there.
Okay.
So I'll post that up. So the next stretch goal is a poker chip. Pocahontas poker chip. So yeah, I'll post up that next little mark off thing today. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And we're almost there because I think we're only like $150 away, and then we're going to unlock it because it's at 14.
You're further than that. I mean, when we started, you were at 221. You got a couple backers while we were talking. So I was like, woohoo.
$173, and we'll unlock the poker chip. Yeah. But for right now, you get all 3 of Bun Leung's zombie magnets. So
I was like, this is funny. I was like, you did it.
The last time he did all the princesses, and I was like, I want to do zombies, but I don't want them to just be zombies. That's like boring. So I had him just zombify some of our characters, and me, of course.
And you.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yes.
Is that Tom? Yeah, it's Zombie Tom. I was like, that's totally you.
It's Zombie Tom. Yeah.
Amazing.
Zombie Tom, complete with
Missing
cargo
shoe
shorts,
and big dog ink shirt.
That's right. Yeah. And then Zombie Critter, and then Zombie Angel from our Penny for Your Soul series. So those are all unlocked. And then there's the design card. We did all of these for all the other princesses. So now you've got the next princess card done by Jessie Witchman.
And she's the new one in this issue, or she was new in last issue?
Well, she was actually introduced in the BD13 anthology that we did over the summer. We did a short story part of the anthology. So that is her first appearance. But now in this story, she goes from where she was into the group. So she now becomes part of the group in this story. Yeah.
Gotcha. They run into her. I'm sure Bella will do her thing.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
See, and this is what I mean. Like, I know that you don't like zombies, but whoever drew this does, because this is a great depiction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Chao Mahato has done the entire series. He even did the BD13 story. So everything that you get Princesses versus Zombies has a consistency of art and color to it because it's the same team through the whole thing.
Gotcha.
Some of this was in the script as far as like what I wanted, trying to get the angles, like especially that bottom right one.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to look down, like she's climbing up the ladder, but I want to look down on it. So, but Chao's great. He's great with what I tell him, and he's great with sort of filling in the gaps when he's allowed to just kind of, do his own artistic thing.
That's a Walking Dead moment right there too. Did you know?
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Issue 1, when Rick meets Glenn is going from rooftop to rooftop, and he goes up a ladder with a ring around it, going up to the roof. Takes Rick with him after he rescues him from the tank.
Okay, so I'll say yes. I knew.
You're like, I meant to do that.
I clearly homaged that. Yeah.
That's 100%. Why I was like, okay, see, I'm seeing homages everywhere, and it's like, oh.
Well, they are in there, but there's clearly stuff that I don't know what I'm doing either. So
you're like, I don't know. So there are 7 kids.
There are 7 kids. Yeah. So our Mrs. White
1,
is a
2,
hockey
3,
mom.
4, 5, 6. There we go.
Yep.
And her 7 dwarves.
Yep, that's correct. Yep. And then if you look on their jerseys on some of the other pages, they're called the Huntsmen.
Oh, that's funny. I was like, I know I missed some inside jokes, but the colors in here are great too. And it's like a lot of times in the horror genre, you don't see a ton of bright color. You see a lot of red. But it's
red,
like
muted stuff. Yeah. And I was like, that's not going to fly for this. If we're doing a princess book, it is going to be color, baby. We're going to go all out.
Yeah. I love that, where she's utilizing the axe as like a professional. And that cracks me up, where she was like, oh yeah, that Groupon for axe throwing will come in handy. I was like, oh, I think I have a Groupon for axe throwing actually. It's like, maybe I should use it.
That's just writing 101, guys. If your character is doing something that they probably wouldn't know how to do, you got to find a way. You don't have to, but you should find a fun way of letting the audience know why Mrs. White knows how to handle an axe.
Right.
And and again, this is a real world. Bubble. Yeah. And so this is a real world scenario. This is not like Cinderella and the Castle. This is just Halloween, real world. And so axe throwing and Groupons is a real thing. So of course, you can tuck that stuff in.
And they're all like, hello, Cindy. You're staring out the window. And then this
there's a line in there where one of the kids tells the other kid, he's like, your mom's a MILF.
Yeah.
And he's like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
He's like, I don't know. My dad told me.
And it cracks me up later when she was like, don't ever let me catch you saying that again.
Yeah, right.
She's like, or so help me.
We really try and keep things tight and calling back, because this is all happening in a very short period of time as well.
Yeah.
We're within like the first hour of the zombie apocalypse at this point, in this book. So, things that are happening would be really easily recalled by the group as it's all going.
My buddy Preem just joined. He was like, man, the first thing I heard when I signed on was your mom's a MILF.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what is going on?
This is what we do here.
Hello.
You're welcome is what I'll tell you. Is you're welcome.
Preem, we're talking about princesses versus zombies. So it's Halloween. There's a bunch of ladies dressed up as we do on Halloween. It's the sexy version of whatever. Take your pick. But there's also a zombie apocalypse going on. So these buxom ladies band together to fight the zombie apocalypse. Just amazing art. Tom hates zombies, but I love them. So it's like there's something for everybody. It's nice. It's nice. They had a lot of tongue in cheek. There's a lot of fun stuff in here. And then
that's Bella Rose and Pocahontas on the previous page. So Pocahontas is our straight up all about the cosplay girl. When you see it, so basically there's a lot of little jokes in here as well, because Cindy is called the Hot Topic Barbie, Mrs. White is the MILF, and so on. So when they meet Pocahontas, they're like, who are you supposed to be? She's like, I'm Pocahontas. And they all looking at her like, what? And she's like, Pocahontas if she was a zombie or if she was a vampire. And they're all like, oh, I get it. So Pocahontas is the full-on real full-blooded cosplayer of the group, who's just all about the mashup and going crazy with it. So yeah, she's fun. They all absolutely, like we talked about, right? With zombie films and stuff, you got to have the characters. Every one of these characters is an individual thing. They are their own person. They have their own likes, dislikes. They have their own motivations. That's all done almost hyperly on purpose. As I'm writing them, I'm like, they all have to become something opposite of what the other characters are. And to me, that's how you make an awesome, sort of zombie story, because you just fill it with wild characters.
Well, and anytime you have a larger cast, they have to be different. If they're too much the same, it gets boring.
Right. And that's, again, back to writing 101, is make these characters stand out from each other as best you can. Yeah, for sure. And so that's a page from the BD13 anthology where Jasmine makes her first appearance. She has to stop for gas. And when she goes in to pay, she finds the zombies, and off we go.
Nope, she says. Just takes off. That cracks me up.
And
that
so this,
nope.
Yeah. So
no.
This was actually written by. Yeah. So this was written by
James,
Stephanie Menard. I wrote one of the books in the BD13 anthology, and then Stephanie wrote this, and she's a local writer here in Michigan.
Cool.
And then Pat Shand wrote the Slipstream book. So we had 3 writers on this book, and Stephanie wrote the Jasmine story.
Cool. That's cool. It's the inside of the gas station. Nope. There she goes.
Sometimes it's just that beat, man. You don't have to get crazy dialogue, screaming. It's that moment, like, nope.
Yeah, that's
out the door.
Totally me. By the way, James, I just wanted to mention I will be cooking my butternut squash today for my pie. Looking forward to that. James grows a garden, and he had a ton of butternut squash. And I inquired at one point, like, what are you planning on doing with all these? And he said he was going to make pie, and talked me into trying butternut squash pie instead in lieu of like a pumpkin pie. And I usually get like the little sugar pumpkins and I roast them myself. And so I'm going to try with the butternut, and I don't know. I'll let you know if you've converted me, sir. But I blame you. It's all your fault that everybody's getting butternut squash pie this year.
Or you might take a bite and just say, nope.
I don't know. I mean, you add enough sugar and condensed milk to something,
it's going to make almost anything a yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I was like, you could put, I've heard sweet potato pie. It's probably all, around the same texture and flavor. Just if it's, I think he said butternut squash is a little more sweet. So we'll see. I want to make a full-size one and then some mini ones. So that's my plans for this week. I got to do the whole Thanksgiving smorgasbord. It's like eating an enhanced pumpkin pie. Well, I'll be posting my findings. I have to do a clinical trial to let you know. All right, so let's get back here. Variant covers. Yes, we all love variant covers.
Yeah. So that's your basic logo cover. That's your standard A cover with Pocahontas on there.
Okay.
You get a good shot of her doing her whole Pocahontas as a vampire thing.
That was funny too. They're like, I sense Twilight. She's like, what? I was like, where are we going with this? Oh, okay. Cosplayer. Jasmine, beautiful.
There's Jasmine, Mel Milton.
Man, I don't know if I have enough hair to do that. That would be fun.
It's a lot of hair.
It's a lot of hair. I got a lot of hair. Need a haircut. Tell you.
There is Pocahontas again. Joel Gomez, of course, he works with Coffin Comics over there a lot. So we get him from time to time. I love this shot where she's just got her arrows like stuck in the table. Like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
She got them all lined up. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna go.
And then Elias Chitsaudis.
She's taking a selfie.
Yeah, she's doing her TikTok thing. Look, I got another one. Absolutely.
Nice.
And then Lene Dye, this is the first time we've gotten to work with her. So I'm super excited to have her with us.
Nice.
Again, Mrs. White getting ready for the going out.
Party? Yeah.
And the zombies are, making their thoughts known in the background.
Like being creeps. Nah, they're just hungry.
Creeping.
Bella Rose.
And then Tough Night for Ariel. Oh no, sorry, that's coming next. This is Bella Rose, of course. So like we talked about, she's got the glasses on because she's blind. She's got Beast down there with a zombie hand in his mouth.
Nice.
Because he's taking care of the job while she's smelling the roses.
Which is hilarious, by the way.
She's a very tactile person.
Very. She'll grab all your things to introduce herself. Like how dogs sniff each other in the butt.
That's correct. That's correct.
She does do some sniffing too. I was like, oh, Tom. Oh, Ariel, no.
And then there's our rough night for Ariel. Good old Tim Vigil. Tim was great. He's worked a few times for us. When I told him what I wanted here, he was like, boobs. I said, yeah. He said, blood. I said, yeah. He said, gore. I said, yeah. He's like, I'm in. So,
You checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
She is fish food. It kind of cracks me up, like in the beginning where she was like all full of herself, and then like they just dumped her into the hot tub. She was just like, hey. I was like, that's funny.
Yeah. So that's it. That's your variant covers, guys. And then the rest is just sort of combo. Yeah. There's only a handful of them. You can pick and choose, or you can grab them all. And then, of course, there's, if you haven't read the series, we have a quick combo catch up. You can get all 4 of them in one big shot, just right there. Boom. Get all 4 issues.
For $30?
Yep. All 4 issues. It's a steal.
It is a steal.
Yeah. And it is currently our highest pledged thing right now. So we have a ton of people coming in wanting to read the book, which is great, because we all want readers.
Of course.
Yeah.
People always, that's a question among indie creators. More money or more creators? The answer is probably both, but I mean, we would prefer both. But if you could have one or the other, more readers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's about the story.
That's right.
You would love to read it. You can collect all you want to, but read the story. That's what we're here for.
And there's our gravestones. You have Cindy, Mrs. White, and Pocahontas. And then it's hard to see here because it's a little dark, but when you see the actual book, the gravestones. So the one on the left says M.R. Gunn. That's the artist name. The center one has my name on it.
Yep.
And then the Pocahontas one has Witchman on it because he designed all the characters. So we did a little creator shout out on the gravestones as well.
That's funny. And I love how it's one big piece of art. And I was like, that tree goes through, and then the moon. Very nice.
Yep. And then we have the after party set.
They're variant for prints.
Those are, everything here is comics. Everything here is comics. Yep. The Lene Dye after party set. You can get the set right there.
Her clothes went missing.
And then if you want to dive into the whole thing, we've got everything in one pledge.
Wow.
Plus, if you look right at the top there, we have the Pocahontas cover, but it's a special wraparound cover. So it has the jasmine on the back, no logos or anything. So it's just a nice, clean, virgin wraparound cover. That's exclusive to the people that buy the super pack there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love a nice wrap cover.
Mm-hmm.
When they're done right, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get all the things. Get all the things.
Get all the things, and then we've got a few left of our standees. So we have the Mrs. White standee right there from Camp Crossover.
Gotcha.
So you can get the standee with the book, and then we have Camp Crossover number 2. We have a few of the Cindy standees as well with the pillow fight cover. So we still have a few of those, so you can get those. And then I've got 10 of these sets left. This is from the original Princesses vs. Zombies number 1. I have 10 of these sets left, and then they're gone. So that's what we call the Spotlight set by Pedro Perez. And if you want to grab those, we've got 10 sets that you can do add-ons for.
These are trading cards or prints?
Nope, those are comics.
Those are comics. Everything comics.
Everything's comics on here. Yes, everything's comics.
I was like, so is it this? You're like, still no. Try again.
And then if you like the fancy stuff, you can get all of these covers in foil or metal.
Bye. You called it sushi roll. Still funny.
Of course.
Sushi is great.
That's right.
Jasmine foil. This will be beautiful with all the color.
Yeah.
I love a good foil cover. And in metals, there's nothing like a metal. I don't know. And you could never do it justice. You could never show people.
No, you got to see it in. You got to see it in person. It's really hard to take pictures of the metal covers and have them even come close to showing you what they look like.
No. And people are like, I don't really have a metal. And then I was like, go get one. I was like, just hold it in your hand, feel the cover. It's tactile. Like the black lines are raised and it's so shiny and beautiful. And it just has a weight to it. I'm like,
it creates a depth to the art. They're great. They're really amazing. And all of our foils and metals, they're just printed to order. So if we get orders for 12, well, that's what we'll make a few more because the artist gets comps, but that's your baseline print run is we're not ordering 12 and then making 50 of them. These are all made to order. So, if you miss out on them, they're going to be gone.
I think I
FOMO.
I think I make like 10 total of each cover and that's it.
Yeah. That's our minimums that we have to do. Like for the metals, as we always do 10. But usually we sell out of almost all of them. And sometimes we might make like 15 or 16 and they're just gone.
Yep. That's what I'm saying too. Like I just do a minimum of 10. And then once they're gone, they're gone. I think I have a couple extra. I went back and we didn't do a metal cover for issue 1 because we didn't even know they existed. Well, I say we, I mean me. I didn't know it existed. So it's like, I'm going back and I'm letting people order metals for number 1. So if they've been collecting metals, they can, like complete their set.
Nice.
But I need one.
We keep one of everything for the archive. So we have that,
Need it for the archives. Ooh. So there's another metal, more metals.
All these are your metals and foils. You can get them however you like.
Yep. Foxy lady.
And then if you want to try out the rest of the Big Dog Ink universe, we've got trade paperbacks for Critter, Penny for Your Soul, Kaiju Epic, Joan of Arc. You can dive in and try out some of the other universes that we have going on. You can get the Goth Day catch up, all 3 issues, and so on and so on.
Yeah, this is the one that we were looking at last time you were on was Goth Day. That's a great series too. Antoinette. We laughed. I was laughing about this one. It's great. I was like, she has no head. How do you put a cover on? Beautiful lady, no head.
No head.
Who needs it? Joan of Arc. Beautiful. Jungle. I don't think we've ever talked about this one.
That was our first ever Kickstarter when we were tinkering around with it a long time ago. Galaxy far, far away. That's the book I did with Jen Brumall. So yeah, we definitely want to get back to that, but there's a lot on our plate right now.
gosh, I can't imagine. My God, look at all these titles. It's like, and that's what I was saying before I brought you on in the beginning. I was like, I can't imagine having to just juggle all the plates when it comes to all of these stories, and then the artists that are involved, and making sure everybody is working and things are printing, and whoever your editor is, God help them. I don't know if you have a different editor for every project.
She does all of it. She does all of it. Yeah.
Well, you keep her busy.
And that's our shark book.
Yeah.
That's the one that's been in my brain for a long time. And I just was like, it's time to start writing this thing and get it out. So that's a little 8-page preview book. That's actually a new printing. The original printings are gone. First prints, poof.
Okay.
So I hope you have one. We did a new printing of it with a new cover. That will be our first ever OGN, original graphic novel, that we're going to release in 2025. So instead of releasing it as issues, it'll just be the full 120 page book in one shot. So we're already working on that right now. Jason Hay here is doing the art on it. I mean, so he's already got pages done. Yeah,
100 pages.
Yeah. We got a little ways to go, but we got time. We'll be okay.
Amazing. Pitch me that one, and what's the story?
So basically, I'm a big Jaws fan. So I've always had this idea of what Jaws 5 would be, could be, should be, but Universal doesn't care. And so I have to get this story out of my head. So basically, I've taken what I think is Jaws 5 and modified it appropriately to be, not Jaws 5, but still Jaws 5. But it's not Jaws 5 Universal. Don't worry, it's not. But yeah, it is.
Right.
So it's a direct, so it's a direct continuity off of the 4 movies, with all of the appropriate changes. So like Amity Island is now Harmony Island, and so on and so on. So basically, we see where Harmony Island is now. Some 30 years later, after Jaws: The Revenge, we find that the island has basically almost shut down because of the shark attacks that had been happening, right? Because why wouldn't it? But
especially
then because now the way that the world works now, they realized that they should embrace the idea of the shark attacks, and not so much the attacks, but the heroes of the shark attacks. And so Harmony Island has become almost a tourist trap amusement park now, where people are coming to, learn the history of the sharks, learn the history of the people that saved them, all these years, so instead of Chief Brody, it's Chief Rhodey, stuff like that. So it's a really kind of unique look at, sort of Jaws now through, where would all of this have happened in a real world scenario right now. And then some of the characters in it are based on characters specifically mostly from Jaws 2, because that was where all the kids were. And they'd be in their 60s now, so they can still, they'd still be alive. So the kids have been translated into these older characters. Mike Brody, of course, it has returned from the Bahamas. He's now back home. He is basically our Quint figure now, because he's like, fuck these sharks. And so his whole thing is, I'm going to take care of this problem around this island. And he has basically overfished and destroyed the shark population of all kinds around the island. And the question becomes, how does nature sort of, fill that vacuum? And off we go to this story.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I was like, one, does he take people to cage dive? I was like,
no, he does not.
Ooh.
But that, what you're seeing right there, that's like a buoy, and it's got that yellow barrel, right? The barrel from the first movie. So that's part of the story. That's actually the Blackfin Memorial Site. So right below that is the Blackfin. And so there's tour boats that come out, and they tell the story. Oh, Chief Rhodey saved the island from the shark out here, and the boat is below us, and that's sort of the memorial, for the thing. So there's the kid that got eaten by the shark. There's they built a pier that only goes out to the point where the kid was killed. So the pier sits right on top of the spot where the kid was killed. So there's a lot of really weird, creepy shit, but it's 100% what in my brain, what our society would look at is how do we market ourselves here to bring people to our island? And so there's all these little places around the island where it's like, okay, yeah, this is where this guy died.
Of a kid on a banana float at the end of the pier.
Right. right.
People would totally eat that up. I mean,
that's
they love serial killers, like in real life. I'm not talking about in comics. Like in real life, people love serial killers. People love haunted houses. People love to just dive into that stuff. So 100% they would make like a tourist attraction about the murders from this, murders. Right. The shark wasn't murdering, it was eating, it was doing its thing. But totally around, like the events from that, we would totally eat that up. Unintended.
And then there's the BD13 anthology, 3 stories, 10 pages each.
Okay.
First appearance of Jasmine. It's also the first appearance of Dawn, the blonde in the back. First appearance of Dawn. She's part of the Yeehaw vampire story.
I was gonna say she looks kind of. What do I want to say? With the cars, the
Dukes
general.
of Hazzard.
Thank you.
100%.
Like it's right there.
That's where it came from. Is we did a so Brian Peterson has been doing these art pieces for us that we call the Lost Girls with these vampires, where we take 80s characters and turn them into vampires. So that girl right in the front, that's who we did. We did a picture of her leaning against a General Lee car, except instead of it being the General Lee, the top flag was replaced with the Transylvanian flag, and then instead of the General Lee on the side, it says Vlad the Impaler. And so it was an immediate hit. People were like, yo, this is amazing. And so it was an immediate rabbit hole. And I was like, yeah, man, Yeehaw vampires. And that became a thing. So now we have a story called Yeehaw Vampires. And it exists within the Ursa Minor world. But it's the story of Daisy and Dawn. It's the origin of Dawn, how she becomes a vampire. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Spoiler.
So you get all kinds of stuff in that BD13 anthology, but it is for the purposes of this talk, it is the first appearance of Jasmine, who then comes into our current story and hits up and meets up with the group in Princesses versus Zombies now.
See, and this is one of the things I love about your writing is that you can take characters out of cult classics and history and 80s and pay homage to that story, but also twist it into something else. And sometimes it's like, is it paying homage or is it poking fun at it, or maybe a little bit of both? And that's what I think people really like about your story. It's like, it's zombie genre, even though you hate zombies, there's a lot of flipping off,
but I still give them what they know, because I still know it. Yeah. Even if I don't like it, I know it. And that was the thing, is like, even when I started writing the book, I definitely did research into the zombie stuff. I was like, tell me about Romero, tell me about all these things. I want to know what the tropes are, because if you don't know what they are and how they work, you can't break them.
Right.
And so that's kind of where I came from with this, is it's like, hey, I want to understand what the genre is, and then I'm gonna Rubik's Cube it and twist the pieces around.
And that's what I think good writers strive to do. Not just stay in the happy little tropes because it's been done, but like how to expand about that. And it's like, I feel like most of the interview today, we can the moral of the story is to think outside the box for everything, right? Because we've talked about marketing and Kickstartering and writing and just, doing your research, knowing your material, and then trying to do something different.
And having fun with it. You got to have fun with it. There's a thing in Princess versus Zombies where Mrs. White is asking her kid, like, how do you know what a zombie is? Is that from a comic book? and he's like, no one reads comics, that kind of stuff. So
that cracked me up too. She's like, is that a comic book? He's like, no, it's a TV show. And I'm like, typical.
Typical dumb kid. You got to have fun with what you're doing, especially in this context, because there's nothing about this that is serious. So you got to really be able to just open up the doors. And this is a very different type of thing for me. Like when we talked about Goth Day earlier, that was a very different type of writing for me. This sort of off the wall, off the cuff stuff like this is very different for me than like Penny for Your Soul and Critter and things like that. So you know, it's pushing me to find different voices for everything that I write. And I think that's the cool thing, is that if someone reads Princesses versus Zombies and then they read, you know, Penny for Your Soul or whatever, you're going to get a different experience each time, but you're still theoretically should still know that this came from Tom. Like there's still enough of Tom in the writing that, you know, it's Tom's writing, but it's Tom is writing zombies, Tom is writing angels, Tom is writing sharks, and you get a new experience each time.
and the thing that I agree with 100% is that you're having fun doing it. Every time we have you on the show, we have a blast. We talk about all sorts of good stuff, and it's just like a nice, relaxed conversation because you're comfortable doing what you do. You've been doing it for years, and you wouldn't still be there unless you enjoyed it. I don't know anybody who could spend 13 years in indie comics and hate it.
Right. Yeah. If you hate it, you probably need to just go become a welder or something. Cause
just go. Right.
Yeah.
But that's with anything. It's like, but you can tell, like we were talking about earlier, some people are just there for the paycheck, but there ain't no paycheck in indie comics when you start out, people. Nope.
You gotta really work it to make this work. And we just got another backer. So we're now $123 away from the next stretch goal.
So close. By the way, for anybody who is watching, here is the link. I put it up in the chat. You can click on this and head right over to the campaign. Go watch the amazing 39-second video. You won't regret it. There's lots of good stuff here. So we talked about the catch up, and let's go briefly through some of these. We got digital editions for $7.
Yeah, if you want digitals, we got you covered. All the prices include your shipping as well. So if it says $25, that's it. It's just $25. It's not 25 plus 10 or anything. It's every price you see includes your shipping. So no extra costs.
Nice. I haven't figured that out. Yeah, got to do that. $6 shipping. Ugh. Got all sorts. You got all your variants here, of course. We kind of went through those.
Yeah, you'll be able to find what you want pretty easily because Kickstarter now has this picture attached to the to the tiers, which is good.
Oh, God, do you build these too, or is it just me?
Yeah, I do all of that stuff. God. Everything you see there, I do. Well, I mean, the logos, people do the logos, but as far as actually building all of the images and
the
stuff,
graphics, you got to build all the graphics, you got to build all the levels, you got to fill in all the people don't realize how much time goes into this.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh, you just put it on the Kickstarter. Well, who's making all those graphics? Right?
You got to type it all out, all the words. Like it's a job, man. It's a real job. I mean, and there are people that is their job. They will literally do it for you.
Yeah. You can pay them. They'll do it.
Yep.
But again, I mean, you and me are the same. Wear the hats because I want it to be done right. But at some point, something's got to go. I don't know. Building the Kickstarter might be one thing because it's like, hopefully that's, I don't know. If someone, all they do is build Kickstarters, it's repetitive. It's, again, it's just time consuming. It's busy work. So hopefully, as long as, that if you're able, well, you probably still have to generate all the images yourself.
I mean, I would just say that you reach a point where if you're doing it right, everything's a template, right?
Yeah.
Where all you really have to do is just drop the new image in. So like all those images for the rewards, I have that PVZ thing as just a blank box.
Yeah.
And all I got to do on the next PVZ is just drop in the
next image.
Drop in the new art. So I'm not having to generate every single piece of it every single time. But I think that's a key thing is for people to really think about this as you're doing campaigns. Think about how you can template everything. Use the same, even if you have like a blue background and you want to change it to green, that's a super easy change, right?
Yes.
So, but create a template so that when you do your next campaign, you're just opening the template, dropping in the 5 new pieces of art, saving it, and you're done.
Yes.
And then that creates branding for yourself as well, because if people
Right.
see the same style of graphics over and
Yeah,
over again, that
looks.
starts to become your brand.
Yep. I'm with you. I did that too. I have my template set up, and this is fairly new. This is the pictures are probably about a year that those have been
I don't
up.
even think it's a year, but
I know, it's
really pretty close. Yeah.
Because I remember, because they dropped it 3 days before I launched not this previous, like, for number 3.
Yeah.
When we're on number 4, we just finished 4. So for number 3, I had my Kickstarter page beautiful and done, and someone like proofread it and made sure. And then they were like, "Oh, now you can add pictures on all your rewards." And I was like, so I spent 3 days like just frantically making graphics, and of course didn't do it right because the size was off. So then I'm like editing again. You know what I mean? So panic creating. But now it's like for number 4, I knew what I was doing. So it's like, okay, now the size is there. The template is there. All I have to do is just pop in the stuff. But then and then I'm hounding people because sometimes my variant artists take their time, and I'm like, hey, we're launching this week. I was like, can you please finish your cover, please?
Oh yeah. The fear is real.
The fear is real. Well, beautiful, beautiful work. As always, kicking butt and taking names. People, there's 12 days left. You can go show some love to Princesses versus Zombies. You won't regret it. There's something there for every adult. There's I'm gonna say adult, right? Because I mean, there's some things going on there. But beautiful women, zombies, a funny story. They all have their own personality. It's good. It's good. It's sarcastic. It's funny. It's gory. There's a lot going on. And it's called Princesses versus Zombies. So we're going to see a lot more princesses is my guess. And you get a sticker of Tom.
Oh, better than that. It's a magnet. You can put that right on your fridge.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure my kids would love that. I'm like, who's this? Like, they need more zombie stuff. My 6-year-old was walking to school. We were walking to school, and she was telling the neighbor kid about the zombie bear from I was like, hey, not everybody needs to know about Big James. And of course the dad was like, what is she saying? I'm like, we haven't met. My name's Laurie. Like, I write a comic book and it has zombies in it. And they're like, oh. It's like, yeah, the weird neighbor. Anyway, where can people find you? Of course, there's Big Dog Inc. Let me flip there real quick so everybody can see. If Tom is not campaigning, which he does a lot, you can always head over to bigdoginc.com and check out all their stuff. They have digital comics, original comics, fine art, print. All their comics are here. There's lots of good stuff. So feel free to go shopping.
Yeah, go browse.
Tons
to see. Yeah. And then, we're on all the social medias. We pretty much live on Facebook, so you can find me there. You're welcome to friend me up. There's the Big Dog Inc. fan page on Facebook. You're welcome to join that as well. And then Twitter and Instagram, BDI Comics. Same with TikTok, BDI Comics. There's a little bit of content there, not a lot yet, but we're on the TikTok too. So eventually things will start happening there.
I hear you, man. Well, it's hard though, because you have to think in video format, and with comics, a lot of it is 2D. So you have to find enough images to make a video, or find, something to make a video. I find I have certain videos that get a lot of views, and I have certain videos that get some views. So it's just a matter of finding a happy medium. So, but absolutely. Yes, please go follow Tom on all the socials. Super nice guy. Tom, thank you for coming. Thank you for always being available to answer questions. I have picked your brain on multiple things. So I appreciate you kind of paying it forward to the community. Indie, it's a hard place to navigate at times, and it's great to have someone who's kind of done it so we can ask questions to that person. A lot of times we're asking questions to each other, and it's the blind leading the blind. But my suggestion is, if you're new to indie, find someone like a Tom who has done it, who has been doing it, successfully for years, and see if they're willing to shed some light on your questions, because don't ask people who haven't done what you're trying to succeed at. Find the people that have done the successful things and then ask them the questions. How did they get there? Pick their brains. Run ideas past them. There's a lot of cool people out there, Tom being one of them. So definitely follow on the socials and reach out to either of us. I'm happy to answer questions too, but I don't have the same level of experience as this guy. But thank you all for watching. I got another guest on next week. I don't know who. I'm always like, next week is a great guest. Somebody cool. I don't know. But we're going to have a good time. And thank you again for coming on. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Be excellent to each other, please. And we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Civil War was America's bloodiest conflict. Over 500,000 died to preserve national unity. When the war ended, Confederates like Harley Brogdon headed west, shooting game for the Army and gambling. When a card game turns deadly, Harley shoots in self-defense, killing the card sharp who threw down first. Wilfred Knorr, the card sharp's wealthy father, will stop at nothing to see Harley hang. Harley flees to Cobb's Gap, an old silver mining town at the foot of the Rockies. A remarkably peaceful town, especially after dark. But the sheriff harbors a dark secret, and no one dares go into the mines anymore. Cobb's Gap is full of secrets. People speak in hushed tones of something in the mine. Something worse than their cursed sheriff. Something even the Indians fear from the deepest pits of hell. Every secret will be exposed. Bronze Star. Order your copy at bronzestarcomic.com.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit